Okay, here we are again. If anybody can hear me, let me know. We're going to try getting on to Silvering again. And I think I jinxed us because we were just talking about having these on. Okay, here we are. We're live. We're trying this again. This time it's working.
Oh my God. I'm like, I'm not a moderator. How do I stop being a moderator?
It's like I said. I think
exclamation point.
Yes. I think we jinxed each other a little bit when we had our conversation a couple minutes ago, prepping for it. We were talking about.
Yeah. What's our game plan if things don't work out? This is it.
I think we jinxed it a little bit. But I'm going to mentally note here that, like, my iPad, for whatever reason, some days works, some days it doesn't. Today, it apparently is not. So we're going to wing it with this way.
I think it might have been on my end because I accepted moderator status. And I thought that's what you did. And then it was like, well, you can't join if you're a moderator. I'm like, but
right. Well, I think that's my fault. I think I hit that accidentally for you. So anyways, everybody, welcome to the Ageless Lounge, our kickoff. And just proof that, AI is not always the best thing. We really like to know that we're talking with real people, right?
Real humans. Yeah, bugs and all. Yep.
So here we go, everybody. I am really excited because the Ageless Lounge has kind of come into play because I feel like we've been in a battle with the pro-aging versus, anti-aging market. And when it really comes right down to it, I feel like we're all aiming for the same things, which is to just live our best selves, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So the Ageless Lounge was born. And today,
it's a good name.
I have the pleasure of introducing you all to one of my new favorite friends. I'm going to tell you. Her name is Alexis Eizinas. Did I get that right?
Well done. It's like you're Lithuanian, not Italian.
She is the founder of Silvering, which is a fabulous new line that is really aimed for women that are embracing their silvers, and I'm going to give her a chance to tell you about it here in a minute. But I really kind of wanted to start our introduction by just kind of letting her give a quick synopsis of who she is. I mean, she's got a beauty industry background here, so she's coming to us with, in my mind, lots of knowledge from all the years that she's been in an industry that has actually been challenging us not to go gray. Yeah. And here she is. So I kind of want her to do a quick introduction of herself and tell you who she is.
My name is Alexis Eizinas, like us Asians. And I am the founder of Silvering. And my background is, it's interesting. I've been 30 years in the beauty space. So 10 years of that when I was a kid. I want to say a kid, but in my teens, as a model. And that was fantastic. I got to work with some of the best beauty brands and designers in the world. And then I came back to Canada, tried to figure out what I wanted to do, discovered industrial design, because I think innately I'm a problem solver. But strangely, through industrial design, I ended up going back into beauty. Industrial design, it brought me into designing the interior fixings and displays for cosmetics brands. So our business, which you wouldn't have heard of because it's a business to business, but you would have heard of our clients. So we worked with everybody from, CoverGirl to Chanel, and worked with them to kind of translate their brand into a 3D space. Now, the benefits of that, and kind of this is where it's interesting, where it starts all kind of coming together for me, is that in order to promote products, I probably had every product that was ever made come across my desk. They're like, hey, we have a new lipstick. We have to promote it somehow, build something. I'm like, tell me about this product. Put the lipstick on. I love it. I don't. How can I, feel it, express it. And that was 20 years of my life. So 20 years I was working in that part of the beauty space, so kind of behind the scenes. And I got to know founders, and I got to know like executives from the Sephoras and the Ultas and the Shoppers Drug Marts. And that gave me just a very unique perspective on kind of how the business of beauty, we'll say. Now, during that time, it was 2008. I was pregnant with my son, Dexter. Shout out to Dexter. And because of that, I stopped dyeing my hair. And so I worked for just, maybe a quarter of my professional life with silvering hair. And I was damned if I found product that worked for me, you know, and I had access to everything, like everything. So it was, you know, a frustration, and it took a long time to kind of pick and choose and kind of curate, like, this works, this doesn't, and why does this work, and why does this not work? And because I had access to kind of inside information, I could, you know, figure things out in a different way. And then COVID hit. And with COVID, I think a lot of women probably here, you know, couldn't go to the salons, and were kind of discovering their own silvering. And I don't know, like across the board, people think and feel it's amazing. And you know it, like, you know it if you've grown it, you know it. It feels amazing. And it's a very, when you have a marketplace in a beauty industry that assumes you're going to dye your hair, they don't understand how beautiful it is, and how beautiful, and all the things that grow with it. And it's not something you want to correct. It's not something that you need a prescription for, you know. It's like, how do I take this feeling and amplify it? And that was it. And I was like, darn it, somebody has to do something about this.
Well, I love that you named the company Silvering, and I love what Silvering stands for you. So I need you to share that, like Silvering, because you use it as a verb. So share with us Silvering, what that means for you.
Great, Silvering. So I've always had kind of this kind of like, you know, gut reaction to the term going gray. You know, because going gray implies this fading of vitality. It's a disappearing. And again, if you've been there and you've done it, it is the opposite. You're evolving into something so much more authentic and beautiful. Yes. And silvering is it's the evolution into something more precious.
Yes.
So there we go. There's this. Here's the word silver. You know, silver hair, silvering. You're turning into something just more precious, and I think that's life, and that's where we are. And it's like, show it off, you know.
Absolutely. I would say it's like a precious gem, right? Silver is kind of in the gem category. I'm like, we should all be treating ourselves as precious gems, because that's what we are.
Absolutely.
And so I love this silvering, and I love, ever since I heard about you and met you, I've totally started switching my thought to silvering as everything, in a sense, because it's such a prettier term. People say, well, why do you say silver strands instead of gray strands? And again, it's that whole thing. Gray has somehow not been just another color in the crayon box. All of a sudden, it's been put into this negative notion for us.
It's different.
And so we really have to.
Joe, I'll interject there, because there's I think a lot of women who are probably tuning in today are, you know, we feel the same thing, and we want to change the perspective.
Yes.
And there are things that each of us can do, like from our different points of view. So from my point of view, here are things that I can do, and one of them was representation, right? Like, how do we change the representation? There are so many great my God, great people out there right now who are doing the hard work of that. But I believe in the beauty space, you know, using a model is good, but creating products for the silvering woman is it's a validation, you know, showing silvering women in the beauty space. It's a validation that, yes, this is a an aspirational look, and it's an option. It is an absolutely valid beauty option, and that's what we're missing. So by kind of creating the product, that's one. The second is language, and we make choices every day, you know, with our language, and like what we say and how we say it and how we describe things. And, you know, to think of terms like, oh, I'm going gray, no, I'm silvering, you know, have people question and kind of bring up that dialogue, and like you said,
yes.
You say it. And then last is promotion. So what we're trying to do with the brand, and if you go to the Instagram page, you'll see, like, every week there's a quote, but the quote is specifically chosen because it was said by a very wise silver-haired woman. And what we're trying to do is just to equate that idea of wisdom well earned, right? There's nothing to hide here. It's like, why aren't we allowed to show that we're growing,
right,
you know? And So I think, that's our triad of like, what can we do to change things? And I know everybody's got their thing, that they're doing. You've got this amazing magazine, which is, like,
Thank
again,
you.
like, this is what you can do. And it's like, oh, man, we can change things. We're like
Yes.
powerful women.
Well, I love the statistics and how it shows that, the fact that, like, so I was reading, the population right now between like Canada and the USA especially is so crazy. There are so many women over 35, and it's proven now in statistics that a lot of women around 35, 40, 45, depending on where you're at, right, are starting to get gray. So it really isn't an old. I mean, you used to think of gray with like 80, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds. It really isn't that way anymore. And so it shouldn't be as hard to embrace your grays if that's what you want to do. Like you said, it's another color choice, right?
It is.
But in embracing it, it becomes so much more than just that color choice for so many, as you were saying, right? Like, we get into it, maybe it's just the color choice, but then there's all these layers that you peel back, and you're like, oh wow, oh, wait a minute, I don't care what anybody thinks about my color of my hair now. So all of a sudden it's like, ooh, that kind of goes off to every other piece of your life, does it not? I mean,
Yes, there is so much growth that comes with the growth. But I mean, I think it just happens to go hand in hand
yes,
with the, growing up and leveling up. And once you hit that next level, like, all kinds of things happen. Is it hair
yes,
related? Partially, but so many other things are true.
exactly.
You're saying that the 35 point, and that's the median age of the millennials. So the millennials, this giant market
Right.
of people who have been catered to because of their spending power. The median age now is 35, and that millennial group, this is the group that that promoted and made the change in the beauty industry, asking for change,
Mm-hmm.
clean beauty. That was them. So if you've got this group who are more apt to be living authentically, there's this, like, they believe in authenticity, they believe in clean, they believe in beauty, they're also having children, and, like, believe that representation matters. I think this is, again, an opportunity to kind of say, look, beautiful option over here. It's okay, you don't have to dye your hair. But if you
Exactly.
want to dye your hair, it's cool. Like, again, no shade, because people do things that they need to do, but to show that it's an option.
Right. Right, right. And that's the key thing. It's an option. It's not, nobody's forcing anybody to not color their hair or to color their hair. But what we're trying to send out that message is that, hey, if you choose to go silvering, right,
Yeah.
that it's beautiful. It doesn't have to be this negative connotation that comes along with it. It doesn't mean you're old and outdated. It doesn't mean, I jokingly say, all the pictures used to be grandmothers with their hairs up in tiny little buns rocking in chairs, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, most of us are now out there. I mean, I just got done doing a 6-mile kayak this past weekend for my birthday.
Good.
I'm not sitting
Happy
in a rocking
birthday, by
chair.
the way.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too. But we're out doing things, and we're creating brands and businesses. As women get older, that wisdom also comes with us passions that we want to then incorporate into other avenues. You embarking on Silvering, the magazine. I mean, those are things that perhaps we never would have been prepared to do at a younger age. But that wisdom that comes with things. I mean, aging does not have to be this scary thing.
Oh my
And
God.
I feel like in some ways we're all ageless because age shouldn't define, our birthdays don't define who we are as individuals. And
Absolutely.
I love your products in the sense you bring up clean. I love that you come at it with the perspective of, like, we need to also understand our hair because silver hair is different than colored hair. And so many people don't realize that when they are doing products and they're going like, oh, this product doesn't work anymore for me. I thought it was and now it doesn't. Or why is my hair turning this color when I use this product? I think it's so important that you actually also help explain in your products as to why silver hair is not going to work with everything, and that you've got some products like your toner that you can actually put in. If you've got a shampoo that you really love that already works in other avenues for you, but you
Yeah.
need that help with the toning, you're not trying to replace, you're not asking people to throw out everything and start over. You're offering ways that are, again, clean products to use and explaining why what we're doing currently might not be working for
That's
us.
it. And it's just a contemporary point of view on products, right? Like, every other age group has a contemporary view on products.
Mhm.
Every other category has a contemporary view. It's like, where's our contemporary view? Like, it's always this, what can we give to these women? Well, purple shampoo. You know,
The
you're like,
Band-Aid. The
but
Band-Aid.
there's more that we need, you know. And if you're a woman who's gone silver, you know, there are like multiple levels of needs. And not realizing, and I think the other point is truly that there's so much misinformation out there. And part of the work that we did that took so long was just deconstructing and decoding like all of those ingredients and looking at what they do to our hair, looking at our hair and saying like, ha, you know, white hair is not white, it's clear. It's like a straw. It's like an empty straw. I don't want to say an empty straw. That sounds so sad because everybody likes, you know, a little cola. Um, but that's kind of what makes it so beautiful. And when you understand kind of the physical properties of the hair, then you can start designing and formulating products that enhance its beauty, right? Like, but until you understand what it is, you're like putting stuff on it, thinking it's going to look good. It's like, no, look closely at what it's doing. And we were talking about this earlier, but because it's clear, it's reflective, right? And it reflects our environment. It reflects the light. It kind of like picks up the colors in your environment, what you're wearing. You know, we were talking about wearing green.
Yep.
Is that a good idea? And you know, and a lot of people say, gosh, I saw that photo of me and I was really taken aback. But it's like, you know what, we are going to look so different in different lights because we're chameleons.
Yes. And I think that that's key. If you weren't listening, what she was just saying there, guys, really honestly listen to it because it is clear we are a reflection of our environment. So when women are going, you know, how do I get the best silvers? I always kind of think, you know, kind of look at on days that you feel like you're really rocking with your silvers. Look at what you're wearing. Look at where you're at the day that you feel that way. Because the light. Because those things reflect it. I don't think we understand that as you start off in the great journey, how much your environment and color play into the shades that you're going to show at that point in time. Because we don't have just one set of shades. It's not like, you know, you can go out and buy the box color in, you know, it's been so long I don't know what to call the shades. You know, box, you know, blonde, double 7, right? And you know exactly what you're going to get.
Like that, no matter where you go. It's like, no, that's not what we have anymore.
Not at all. Not at all. And we never will again.
Yeah, but that's kind of the magic of it. I mean, that is why it's so difficult to reproduce. And you see movies where, you know, there are terrible wigs that have been put on men and women. And you're just like, ooh, you know, somebody really doesn't know, you know, what silver hair is, because silvering hair is like a combination. And you know this, gray hair is that combination of your natural hair color and the clear. You know, so it's perfectly desaturated and takes on that kind of living light of the world around you. It's magic.
Yes.
We're wizards.
Yes, I love the living light concept of it, of thinking that as you're living, you know, living light. That's a perfect way to say it, to sum it up with. It is a difference. It is a change. If somebody's listening to this and you're not sure, you're considering it, but like, understand this is why we do things like this. So you kind of have a better idea. You kind of can come in with some tools ahead of it to understand why maybe you're having those moments where you don't get why your hair is looking. I mean, the other day we were talking with the green. I had green on the bottom of my hair. It looked like almost this pool water green at the tips of my hair because it was so close to this green that I really probably shouldn't have been wearing. But I did. But again, 2 days later, I'm wearing a different color, and I look totally silver. So, like, you have to understand we are chameleons at this point in time, ladies, and that it is all part of the journey. It's all part of the exploration into silvering, right? Like,
yes.
So let's share with me a little bit because, yes, we're saying silvering. I want everybody to go over, and if you're not following her over on Instagram, or are you on Facebook as well? I can't remember. Are we Facebook too?
Yeah.
So
silveringbeauty.com is the site, and we're working with national retailers in Canada and the States to get us into store, because we like the idea of shipping all over the place is like, it's handy and it's nice to get things shipped to you, but it's terrible for the environment, you know, and we're trying to do better. And part of our mandate, truly, like part of our mission is to change the way that all women see silvering hair. And in order to really make that happen means that we have to be, you know, where everybody sees us. And the challenge with, you know, even like Instagram and Facebook and algorithms are that we can't get our message out to a younger demographic,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, I think it's so important to see, for 12-year-olds to see it, for 16-year-olds to see it, for everybody to see it early on, so that, again, like this, how do we change things? It's like, let's do it incrementally.
Exactly. 100% agree.
Say
I just,
something.
I just had somebody that shot in a quick little email saying, hey, what about if you've got the white blonde? Any tips for the white blonde? So again, we were talking about, do you have anything you want to share with what you've discovered with your creation of doing things? Like, again,
What about white blonde? So what's the question?
like a tip that it was just kind of any suggestions for a white blonde is what they were asking. So it sounds to me like perhaps like they were struggling a little bit with that understanding,
Oh, like the
maybe of
comp.
the,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, white blonde, beautiful. They call it, and you've heard this, there's salt and pepper, and then there's sugar and spice.
yeah.
And it's that sugar and spice, like that's what you got. Like it's white blonde, but I think
Oh,
it's sugar and spice, and it's gorgeous. It would be considered warm, if you're looking for an eyebrow tone.
yeah.
Um, and uh, I would say that you don't need toning. Like leave it because it's naturally, this is the natural tone that you have. It's sometimes what happens is like with a silver blonde, with a sugar and spice, if you've got too much product buildup, you'll know it, right? You will know that your hair feels heavy, and it'll take on a tone that's not like your natural blonde. It'll be more brassy,
Right.
right? So you want to just wash that out really well, and then check out the ingredients of the products that you're using. uh, look out for dyes, look at the color of your products, look out for silicones. Like there are water soluble silicones, cool. And then there are non-water soluble silicones, which are not cool. And the problem with those silicones is that when they build up on your hair, they not only do they drag your hair down, but they'll show up on silvers. They don't show up the same way on dark hair. But dark hair buildup will feel heavy, but you won't see it. But on silver hair, it's kind of like spilling rosé on a white t-shirt.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, there it is. You got it. So build up, you want to just stay away from build up. So stay away from those ingredients. It's a pain in the butt because the ingredient lists for products are long, and you have to know what you're looking at. So that's kind of like where we're hoping is also to be a space where women know when you come here, you're good. Like
So share a little bit about your creation of your clean products. Share a little bit of that. Like what makes your product maybe stand out a little bit with everything that everybody's throwing on the market right now, right? Like
sure.
why do you feel like Silvering really offers that next step for women?
We've done the research, and our filter is silvering hair. Like that's what we've tested against. That's what we're testing for. So in terms of clean is such a funny word, and anybody in this group who is following beauty, that it's a really challenging um, uh, title to put over things. So what we did as a company, we had what's called a blacklist of like all of the ingredients that the Sephoras of the world, the Ultas of the world, the all of the clean beauty lists that are out there, the blacklists. We're like, these are the things to stay away from. We're going to stay away from them. And our brief for the products was very specific about what it needed to do and what kind of research and what kind of validation it needed in order to make it into the bottles. So that's just the ingredients. And then the rest of it, like in terms of clean and responsible luxury, is, man, the world, we have enough plastic in the world, right? We do. Like we do. And we know better. Like we're of an age where we can't just pretend ignorance and be like, whatever.
Right.
But it's beautiful. And plastic is beautiful, and plastic is cheap. But plastic stays forever. So we've also made a really, really strong effort to find alternate ways of packaging our products. They're packaged beautifully, and where we did need plastic for like the pumps and the dropper collars, we're recycled. Let's be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. So we're not using virgin, we're using recycled content. Yeah.
Very nice.
Does that answer your
And tell us.
question? I feel like I'm like,
Yeah, no, you did, and I want you to get a chance to kind of share a little bit about what your product. I mean, we're talking about silvering and we're talking about, but we haven't really said specifically what are your lines right now that you have out there. So share those with us.
okay. First, so we launched with 2 products. The first 2 products were True Expression eyebrow duos and Borderline optical filler. So the True Expression eyebrow duos, that satisfied my personal pet peeve as somebody in the beauty industry trying to look fabulous and put together and not being able to match my brows. Like it seems like such a small thing, but man, it's your face. You know?
Well, they circle. I was like, they circle our eyes too. Yes.
Yeah, and it's like connect. So the nice thing about the True Expression is that it gives you an opportunity to play a little bit. It's got a light and a dark, and it's always on tone, right? Because you've got highlights and you've got lowlights, and you can connect to both. And both would be valid as long as they're desaturated, and that's what we've got. Sticks, I mean, read the reviews. They're like
read the
we've all
reviews.
been looking. We've all been looking. And then the optical filler, Borderline, is it answers the real need that women have. You know, I am going through menopause, and I don't know if you can see it, but some thinning sections. I'm using it in here. Yeah. So thinning hair, because that's a reality. And what can you do? You know, while you're waiting for your multivitamins to kick in, while you're waiting for your scalp serums, which is another product we have, to kick in, like there's still this period of time where you're like, my part is like a half an inch wide. That's real. Again, looking at the product, like looking at the physical makeup of hair, it's clear. Guess what? Clear hair shows more scalp. You know? So
yes,
right around where you need it most, you're like, hold on a second, I have hair there, but I'm seeing a lot more scalp than I'm seeing of hair. And so what the optical filler does is it coats the hair, and it opacifies it, so that you don't see your scalp. So that comes in 2 colors. There's white and salt and pepper. If we get enough requests for the sugar and spice, we'll do a sugar and spice version too. But the other thing that we wanted to do with that is again this idea of augmenting and amplifying the beauty of silvering hair. Like women, I don't know, you kind of love your streaks, like you love it when you get those chunky streaks, and
right. And you can play with them a little bit and just kind of point like that little one, right? Yeah.
Right. So what we can do is with the Borderline, you can paint it on your hair. So you can augment your darks, you can augment your highlights, and just when your hair is up, you can just add a little bit more definition, so you can kind of play up those highs and lows. Because why shouldn't we have fun?
So let me ask you this: so when you're saying that, because those products intrigue me. But so is it going to be something that's going to be off on all my shirts, my clothes? I have long hair, so I mean, if I put it on, I'm just bringing it all the way down. I don't want it on my shirts and clothes, right? So is it something that we like? How does that work exactly?
Yeah, it's sticky. It is a powder. It does wash out. It does use talc, but it's absolutely certified asbestos free. But talc works in a lot of different ways, because a lot of women are also concerned about kind of scalp health, and it's like, the last thing you want to do is like harm your scalp, because healthy hair comes from a healthy scalp. You want to grow that. So what talc does, it like lifts the oils and then easily washes off, and it's magic.
Okay.
It sticks to the hair, it stays in place, you're golden. So, and then the other 3 products that are launching, and Robin, I was telling you this earlier, they're like moving from the manufacturer to the warehouse today, and it's all manufactured in Canada. So it's really just going down the street a few blocks, but I'm like, this is a very stressful day for me. But the next 3 products are amazing. So that's the tonal control, which, like you said, are the toning drops that let you, instead of buying another bottle of shampoo and conditioner, but if you found one that you love, cool. Like, again, there's room for all of us.
Right.
There's room for all of us. But if you didn't want to, buy another shampoo and conditioner, and you love your shampoo, Old Lex. Sorry, did I say that? Fantastic shampoos and conditioners, and you just need some toning, just tone, right? As opposed to buying something else. So that gives women the freedom and control to tone on their own. And then a big one is root rouser. Again, hair loss and hair thinning is real. And we know statistically 1/3 of all women experience some form of hair loss. That doesn't include the women who have gone through COVID and are still experiencing kind of hair thinning.
Right.
But what we do know is that scalp massage helps bring blood flow to the scalp and increase blood flow, just like everywhere else on our body, our hair. Great. So scalp massage, if nothing else, massage your scalp, just do it. It feels amazing besides. But add to that a serum that's got some stimulating ingredients, some careful ingredients that take care of your scalp health, that skin on your scalp. I mean, my God, women who have been, and think about it, like this is me too, who've been dyeing their hair. You know that feeling after you dye your hair and you're just like, or when it goes on, you're like, ooh, it's burning. And, I used to convince myself, I'm like, yeah, but it's really getting down in there.
I think we all try to convince ourselves of that when that's happening.
There's nothing right about that. Yeah, so it's like scalp health. Like we have to bring our scalps back to a good place.
Right.
And when your scalp is healthy, the hair that grows out of it is healthy. So wonderful. Scalp massage serum, that's what root rouser is. But massage serums and oils and serums, like all that whole category of scalp care, 90% of them have ingredients that have color, have ingredients that stick to your hair, and that are going to show up on silvers. So what we did was we created kind of like, okay, but if you've got silver hair, here's what you can use. And so root rouser is for, it's a scalp massage serum that helps you just build the healthiest scalp for the healthiest hair. And then last is shine and define, and it's a shine product. It's fabulous. Yeah.
Which helps, because I hear a lot of women, will say, well, what do I do about the dull? Sometimes they feel like they look dull, or they need a little bit of that shine, a little bit of that. Because again, hair, your texture is changing when you're silver. It's not what it was before. So yeah, it's nice to have products that we can use to help enhance this that aren't colorful.
I have some. So I just put some, I thought you might be asking about this. And when you put it on your hair, your hair just drinks it up. It just drinks it up. It's like magic. It's magic. Again, like I worked with the team and I'm just like, this is what it needs to do. And they're like, oh. I'm like, and it has to be crystal clear because it can't build up.
I love that you come all this with all these years of your experience, and the fact that you also grew up in a household. I read that you got much of your what's the word I'm looking for, appreciation for silver hair from your mother, who took hers on in the 80s when that definitely was not, she was going against all the commercials, color that gray out of her hair. Your mother was embracing hers. So
yeah, like what a difference that makes. And again, I think that works to like all the work that we need to do to change perspectives. And I think all of you who are mothers out there and grandmothers, it's like you are doing that work. Like you're part of that group who's helping to do the work to normalize that it's like, it's hair and it's amazing. My mom, in the 80s, she had like a short silver do and big shoulder pads and like big hair, and she looked fabulous, like fabulous. So when it came to me, and questioning, should I stop dyeing my hair? I was like, it wasn't such a huge question. It wasn't such a big hurdle. I'm thankful, but I'm also hoping, like I have a son.
Yeah.
Right. So when you've got boy children, you're like, what am I teaching them?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about the message, like my grandsons think that Nona has Elsa hair, and I love the fact that they don't think of it, oh, my grandmother has gray hair. She has Elsa hair, right?
Yeah.
So again, that's kind of setting that that it will not be as hard, hopefully, because of the work that some of us are planning now and working on in our generation. I mean, the millennials have definitely helped it because COVID and the millennials all helped it, right?
Yeah.
Young girls are paying to get a colored silver, but I think that the concept that it's not a fad, right? Somebody said to me, oh, well, silver's just a fad. It'll go away. I'm like, no, because we've always had silver through all the generations. Right now, the fad of paying to get it maybe is a fad, but women who are actually embracing it and realizing, like you said, it is a beauty choice now. You can be beautiful regardless of what shade your hair is.
It is chic. It is chic, and you see women, you know, and like, you still have to like go to the hair salon. You have to get a good haircut, and you have to like, you can't show up in your pajamas and be like, why does anybody think this looks awesome? It's like, if you had brown hair, nobody would think that looked awesome either. You know, it's like, but silvering hair it's different, it's unique, and you know, and again, everybody who's watching here, you know that your hair is different than anybody else's, and you know that there are remarks that are made, and you've heard them. You've heard the negative remarks, and that's like a different conversation. But you've heard the positive remarks. And how many times when you were dyeing your hair did somebody stop you on the street and be like, oh, your hair is amazing?
Right.
It's like, that never happened before, you know?
Right.
So like, this is, it's coming, and with you, I'm with you. It's like, it's here to stay, because I think once women go through that change, they get it.
Yes.
They get it. Yeah.
They do. So what would you tell somebody, let's end up our conversation with like, what is one piece of, I don't want to necessarily say advice, because I think we all have to define things for ourselves, but if somebody were telling you they're on the fence and they're scared to go gray because of what others might say about it, they don't have like a support system, what would be kind of your response or your suggestion to get over that little hump of feeling like they're alone? Because I feel like, you know, you're not alone, but it's hard when you're there and you feel that piece of like, oh, my husband won't support me, or my family won't like it, my kids tell me don't. Like, what would be your thought to
Robin? For fear of sounding kind of like I'm kissing ass, I would say, like, look at your magazine. I would also say go to Pinterest, go to the internet, because thank goodness we have this now, because you can see women from all over the world who have made the choice and who are rocking it. And if you can, I mean, that is inspiration enough. Like, that is inspiring to be like, yes. And there are people showing their journeys, right? To be like, you're not alone in that journey. And yes, the first few months are hard.
Right.
You know, they're hard.
Right.
But again, so much grows with that. And it's like, you don't know until you know. And that's what I would suggest. I would suggest, like, you're not alone. You're not the first person to do it. And there's this flood now of imagery that's really inspiring.
Yes. And I just want you to reiterate real quick that you know, I agree wholeheartedly with that. We believe that this is not coming and going, right? The millennials are here. They're all getting to this point now. So we are an audience that needs to be spoken to from products.
Yep.
And the beauty industry has to recognize that, yes, millennials supposedly have all the spending money, but they are now at a point where they are getting grays and silver. So you can't keep ignoring feeling the need of those who need products that are going to actually help them feel their most beautiful in their skin.
And there's a difference. Like, the millennials, what they're coming to is the age where dyeing your hair is no longer fun, right? Because, you know, we all dyed our hair when we were like, oh, look, I'm purple. Oh, look, I'm blonde this week, and brown, blah, blah. And then something happens where you're chasing your roots, you know, and there's this like, oh, hold on a second. And that's where I truly believe the millennials they're primed for it. I think we are showing the way. I think older women are showing the way. I think younger women are showing the way to say that, no, you don't have to. That is not the only route that you can take. That's not. And if you wanted to, you know, highlight, yourself, your authentic self, and be. And it's like, you know, people, I don't know. I think this is a generation that's ready for it. And like you said, the market's growing. More readers, lady. More readers.
Well, I'm excited for both your offering, Silvering, the connection that we've got to make, and the friendship that's going to be developing from this. Because again,
Yeah.
ladies, if you feel like you're alone, connect in some manner. Rather it's the magazine, rather it's with Silvering, rather it's your favorite Facebook group or Instagram group that's out there.
Fantastic.
Connect with somebody, because this community is so supportive of one another in a way that I've never experienced in other communities I've been a part of. This silver community is far more about uplifting each other and celebrating one another than anything else. So find a resource to help you, because you're not alone. If you think you're alone, you're not. Reach out to me. Reach out to Alexis. I mean, we are people who are trying to help you know that you're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely, but thank you, Alexis, for giving us your time today. I'm so excited that you got to kick off the Ageless Lounge with us. Join us next week. We're going to do this Ageless Lounge every single week, just to kind of come and bring us all together, and let's keep the message out there that, you know, silver is beautiful, wisdom is beautiful, and let's be aspirational, is that the word I want to use, for the next generation to embrace who they want to be and not worry about it on a color level, right? Let's just embrace your beautiful selves.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, Alexis. We'll talk soon.
Bye. I don't know how to turn this off. Just wait.
Just, we both will just end the conversation. I'll hit the conversation and record it, and we'll go from there.
All right. I'm just going to sit here.
I'm going to remove it right now, because there'll be the option to remove Silver and Beauty, so you'll be off of it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for those who have joined us. I love seeing all of your faces. I wish I could wave at every single person, but as you can see, I am not somebody who can naturally talk and do a lot of, I work with my hands a lot, but trying to message everybody back and get everything, but I will review everything. If you have questions, please reach out to me directly at robin@tangledsilvermag.com, tangledsilvermag.com with your questions, because I will try to answer them if I can. And thank you for your support, and we'll see you all next week at the Ageless Lounge.